Now at 11, water, an essential necessity for life. And here in Cleveland, we have plenty of it.
But some of our people are being denied this vital resource.
I will have to go to neighbors, borrow water.
Now, a civil rights group is suing.
I feel that it's a disgrace to humanity.
Saying our water department is drowning in dysfunction.
That federal class action lawsuit was filed by the NAACP's Legal Defense Fund today. It claims the Cleveland Water Department's billing practices and policies are discriminatory.
Here's just one example from the suit. It says Cleveland Water placed 11,000 water liens on homes between 2014 and 2018, disproportionately in African-American neighborhoods.
Attorneys argue this and other policies violate federal fair housing laws, due process, and equal protection under the 14th Amendment, as well as Ohio's Civil Rights Act.
And one man in this case has been battling with the water department for 6 years. His story is a first of its kind in our Drowning in Dysfunction series.
5 on Your Side investigator Jonathan Walsh continues our coverage.
You might as well drop Albert Pickett into a third world country because that's how he was living. But he wasn't overseas somewhere. He is right here in our own backyard. And he blames Cleveland Water.
You never know this feeling until it happens to you.
No one wants to feel like Albert Pickett.
And to look at it right here,
He just lost his childhood home.
is devastating.
To know Albert's story, you have to go back to 2010. His mom passed away, leaving him this home in East Cleveland, and unpaid water bills, too, a total of $3,000. In 2013, Cleveland Water cut off Albert's water supply.
I said, well, how much can I pay and then just have my water turned back on? Well, you have to pay the whole thing.
He couldn't do that. He tried to set up a payment plan. He says he was denied.
They had no concern about my life or my welfare or anything.
There was no water in Albert's home for 6 years.
I would have to go to neighbors, borrow water.
I'm glad I was there to help.
Barbara Surratt shared her water with Albert.
It was heartbreaking, to the point where I had to cry sometimes without letting him know that I was crying.
He bought water from the store. He filled his toilet with a bucket. He washed up the same way.
I would take a bucket of water and pour it over myself and bathe, and then take another bucket of water and rinse myself with it.
In the meantime, Albert says his sister took out a personal loan and paid nearly $11,000 on the past bills and property taxes. But Cleveland Water said Albert still owed $2,700 in water debt, even though the water had been shut off since 2013.
They know what they're doing, and they have no sympathy for the lower class people.
He says that's one reason he joined the lawsuit filed by the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, the way Cleveland Water has treated his community.
They attack the blacks in these neighborhoods.
Albert tells us he didn't want to be in this situation, being part of a lawsuit, but
every time I try to have a door open, it slams right back in my face.
Now, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund has opened a new door, offering to help Albert and others.
I feel very, very hopeful.
That's a very different feeling than what happened on October 21st.
How can I help you?
My neighbor's house is on fire.
When Albert came home that day, he says his door was wide open. 2 people ran out, and when he walked inside,
there was flames on my couch and on the carpet.
It wasn't out of control at that time.
If I would have had water in the home, I could have doused the fire because it was just in the living room.
But by the time he walked to a neighbor's house and called for help,
So you see fire coming out of the house?
Yes, a lot of fire.
and the fire department came,
That's my house.
those flames had spread.
It hurts so bad. The impact is a trauma.
Albert tells us with an African-American mayor, Frank Jackson, and an African-American director of public utilities, Robert Davis, who oversee the water department, all of this stings even more.
Being African American, they should know about the downfall, but you all keeping your foot down on people like me, and you're offering no help. I feel that it's a disgrace to humanity.
I'm Mayor Jackson, sitting here with you right now. What do you say to me?
You have the power to correct all the mishaps, and you're just letting us fall down deeper and deeper and deeper.
We've reached out to the city of Cleveland, and even though we sent a copy of the lawsuit to them, the city's response was that it hasn't been formally served, so the city cannot comment at this time. Cleveland Water says it's reviewing the complaint, and it typically does not comment on an ongoing lawsuit. I'm 5 on your side investigator Jonathan Walsh.